Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fair Chase Podcast. Excited to be back with you this week. We've taken a little hiatus, not that long, but we were rolling out film and doing some stuff with that. So actually, if you guys who are listening haven't checked it out, go check it out. Actually, we're doing a giveaway for that film premiere that ends in, I think, 2 weeks or so. So just to remind you, that's like Montana Knife Company set of knives. There's like some stuff from Vortex and the Manimal pack from Kafara, which is going to be probably my go-to most used pack this year, just because it's good for day hunting and for deer and everything else. And some stuff from Christensen Arms. So go check it out. It was a cool film. It was a tough hunt. Jared and I were there. It was almost exactly a year ago where we were getting back and tired, bodies beaten, spirits crushed. But still we came home with a lot of meat. So lots of good stuff still there. But all that being said, it's now May. Before I do, I got one more thing. We're doing the moose giveaway. So we'll talk about Worldwide Trophy Adventures later on in this episode, but there is also another giveaway for that. That one's like a $35,000 giveaway. We'll talk about it in the second half of this episode, but I just need to say it again. Check it out. That ends in like a week. So worth going to check out.
OnX is the title sponsor of our podcast here at the Fair Chase, and it's a must-have app for all of us who love to explore the outdoors. Whether you're hunting or hiking or fly fishing, OnX gives you detailed, accurate maps right at your fingertips. With property boundaries, topographical features, and trail data, you'll always know where you are and where you're headed. You'll also likely be able to figure out where that big buck is headed to. Plus, their offline maps mean you're covered even in the most remote locations. OnX is the ultimate tool for outdoor navigation, making every adventure safer and more enjoyable. Download OnX today and explore with confidence.
All right. Got that out of the way. I got Jared here. We're a little bit removed from our turkey hunt. Wanted to touch base and just talk about how our hunt went this year. So, hello, Jared. How are you?
What's up, Jimmy? How you been?
Good. Good. Not eating turkey because I came away empty. We had 1 week to go for our turkey season and one turkey tag, and I decided to go blindless with a bow. And got into some and had some close calls, but we this year probably had the most hunting pressure in our area that we've ever had, and that made things pretty difficult for us.
Yeah, I mean, typically when we go out to that spot up north, it's just us and all of the spots that we usually hunt these turkeys at, and we were running into guys almost at every spot we stopped at, which was extremely frustrating, but at the same time, we just accepted it and try to move around that and game plan differently. But I think overall the hunt, especially for that weekend, I think we hit it on the head because that weather wasn't ideal. It was high of 60s ish.
Maybe it was snowing the first day.
Yeah, maybe not quite 60, but we had really high winds, and it made hearing the toms very difficult. So even at night when we were putting the birds to bed, I was able to get on one. I was able to hear one that first night when we were, putting them to bed. And did you end up getting one to answer back?
That first, when we put them to bed, I did. I found a spot more towards private land that less people had hunted, and I got into that spot that Isaac had his fit of weakness that one morning that we were there, which we'll not talk about on the podcast.
But even just getting a bird to strike up on the roost, it gets you excited for the hunt to start. So everyone was excited to get going that first day. I remember getting out there. I was with Isaac. Jordan was with you.
Filming. Isaac is, for people listening, Isaac is Kafaru. He's a guy that does works for Kafaru. So we partnered with him. We brought our camera guy in and just did like a whole thing. Sorry, go ahead.
So it was sweet. I'm telling him, like, man, this spot's money. I've never not seen a turkey here. totally talking the whole place up, and we ended up not seeing a turkey there that morning. So we got up actually pretty early than what we usually expect. I mean, generally, if I'm not hearing birds communicating back by 8:30, 9 o'clock ish, which some people probably kill me for saying that, but I decided to get up and we started just hitting different spots everywhere we could go. And I actually found a spot closer to where we were. We just randomly stopped on the side of the road and let out just a yelp, and we got one to fire up down in there. So we probably spent, I want to say a good 2-3 hours trying to get that bird to come in. And we were sneaking around on hillsides, kind of, coming back up the hill, running around to where they were kind of dipped down on the layward side where the wind was kind of blowing over top of them, but they could still get in nice and tight to a little quiet little bowl area on the back side. And they were just stuck in there the whole day. I mean, once you got in there, you could see why those turkeys were in there. It was quiet, the warm weather, the sun was hitting on it. So it was kind of a nice little spot, but we could not get those birds to come in either way. I mean, we were going all at them, but
yeah,
eventually just started hitting run and gun. I mean, we went down 2 tracks and trails in different spots, and finally I was starting to get a little bit frustrated that we couldn't get on any birds. And I'm sitting at the kind of a fork in the road, about to turn on like a blacktop road to go to a spot that was probably 15-20 minutes away. And I look off to the left, and lo and behold, a longbeard runs across the road. I looked at Isaac, I'm like, bird, slammed the truck in reverse and probably went back maybe 200 yards or so. Quick loaded up the shotgun, told Isaac to get out of the truck because he was moving a little slow. Just kidding. But I pretty much grabbed my stuff and just took off running. And I looked back for like a half a second, and he was still like, I mean, he was close, but I'm like, come on, man, let's go. So we take off into the woods, and it's kind of a unique little setup. It's an open field near the road, but around it, with probably, I don't know, 10, 15 yards, there's all these real straight, tall pine trees that were planted way back in the day. So there's a lot of cover around this field, and I knew I could get in the direction that bird was going. So I took off into the woods, just kind of trying to get in some distance on this bird. I let off a little yelp, and right away he fired right back. So I'm like, oh crap. He's either going to come running into this spot, or if I keep moving in deeper into the woods, I can get up into a better setup. So I decided, let's keep pushing in a little deeper. So there we are, just trucking down this old logging road, and, sticks flying in our face, whatever. Kind of making a little bit of a racket, but again, the wind was so high that, you could really do whatever you wanted and get away with it. So we finally get out to another opening, and we find like a little, it's like what are those things called? Like a wild olive bush. Real just gnarly, nasty, bushy thing. So we set up in there, and Isaac's kind of up off to my my left a little bit, and I'm comfortable, and I'm like, you ready? He's like, yeah. So I let off another yelp, and right away, just fires right back, and definitely closer that time. We're like, okay, he's coming right now. Where we were facing was a very dense, brushy area with little saplings and little tiny brush pine trees and briars and all this different stuff. And he actually came through there. So all I can see is a little black. I could definitely see him. It was the longbeard that we had seen on the road. And I remember seeing him walk behind a tree. And then he wasn't making any more noise. Nothing was running or anything else. And I don't know if it was in the heat of the moment or if I looked down, or if I lost consciousness, but I saw a turkey step back out of the tree, just his neck peering out like he was looking towards me, and a shot. Just smoked him. He dropped right there, didn't move at all. Look over to Isaac. I'm super pumped. I'm running up to the bird. I'm like, yeah, baby, let's go. I get up there, and this bird magically became a Jake.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I saw that Tom come in. I saw his beard. I saw him strut. he went behind a tree, and he came out of Jake apparently. But
Well,
then the crazy thing was, Isaac said he saw two birds the whole time.
yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but I wanted to be excited that I had gotten a bird, but at the same time, it's like, damn it, it's not really what I was after. And it just happened to be that, so I was happy that I could get a bird down, but not excited the way I want it to be.
You know, I mean, first of all, yeah, it was definitely a group because we got back into that group later, and I'll talk about that in a second. But second, dude, it's just a Jake. I mean, well, my favorite, I'm fine with shooting Jakes. Like, I've got no problem with it. I'm not that good of a turkey hunter, and I'm fine with that. And I feel like people will shoot a Jake and then apologize online for it, which is lame. Just shoot it and be excited. Don't worry what people think about you. You're on the internet. People are going to say bad things no matter what. But I don't mind shooting Jakes. My favorite part of this Jake was how small its beard was. It was the Jared of Jake's. Like, literally, you'd have spread his feathers out to see as much of that little brush. You could make a great paintbrush, one of those really fine paintbrushes.
Dude, like a paint by number. It could. I mean, it was like pinky, tip of the pinky. It was not.
What'd you do with it? What'd you do with the meat? Have you cooked it yet for the girls?
I don't want to talk about it, man.
No?
I had zero room in our fridge, and this is just the cherry on top. I had no room in our fridge, so I used my cooler outside to keep that meat cold for a little while. And during that next week, it had gotten hot, and one of my kids decided to open up this cooler and leave it open for a day with the sun baking down on it.
Yikes.
And when I opened up to check it out, it was hot. It was a hot piece of meat. And when I opened the bag to at least check freshness, it was gag material.
Yeah.
So
it was that kind of year.
Yeah, I was then that year. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I mean, first of all, it's cool you shot one. You did what you could. We went hard for a couple days. You kind of get weekend to the beginning of the next weekend, and that's kind of your time for our earlier seasons here in Michigan. So while Jared's doing this, I go to a spot where morning one, put birds to bed. And I was hunting the same kind of deal. We knew it was windy, so you find the leeward side of a hill or like a bowl or something that keeps these turkeys out of the wind, kind of protects them. And had a lone tom fly down. I got nice and tied up to where he was the night before, set up in a sweet spot, had my bow ready, had the camera guy behind me all brushed in. I'm like, this is it. He flies down. I see that white head, walking through, and just I got him to gobble 100 times, over himself, wow. He comes down, and actually, before that, what was cool is and I've not had this happen in a while. I'm sitting there, and it's still dark, and usually, a lot of guys will throw out the owl hoot, even in the morning, just to check where the gobbler is. So I sit down, I got my stuff. I'm like, maybe I'll let one out, and like lo and behold, right as I think that, barred owl flies. I see it in the kind of the blue light, lands like right above where I'm sitting, and is just going off and setting these gobblers up. So I'm like, oh baby, it's gonna happen. He flies down, he starts heading my way, and he's probably 60, 70 yards through the woods. I'm not in a field or anything. And his hen, there's a couple hens that like stayed up in the roost really long that morning, long time. Finally, they fly down and they start walking the opposite way. And he sees them. He forgets totally about me and my decoys and everything, and just follows them up over the hill, never to be seen again. So, that's kind of common when you're hunting the fly down. You got to just kind of gauge where they're going to come down and where they're going to go. And for that, like, whatever. So I did the same thing. I got up and left. And, I think that day I put on about 10 miles of walking, according to my Garmin, like a lot of walking. And like you said, just struggled with getting him to fire up. windy and cold. It was kind of rainy at first too. It was just not great weather. Got into a few. Yeah, you get into a few and they're not really playing ball. And the big thing was, and I've like I said at the beginning of the episode, pressure. So the times I would get into birds, I would see them on the edges of public and private, on private land. And I would be calling them, firing them up. And I got this going even later on in the week. I went back up and hunted them. And I'm like, I zero in on birds. I got into a bunch. I got into a group of toms and then even some jakes, all in this little kind of grassy area. And they would get to the private public line about 20 yards out from it. And you could see like they just kind of move their head back. And like you could tell they're like, no, I'm not going there. And it was a spot we had seen guys over and over and over again. But everybody likes the early season by us. So, that first season gets a lot of pressure. Now, I went there this weekend. And while I was up in the area, I checked all the turkey spots. I'll probably take my brother out there for the longer, later season. There's no one out hunting now. No one. And so I'm like, maybe we go later and just, I did that last year and I had a blast just because you have a lot more time walking and looking for them. I like just calling them, shooting them is awesome. Obviously, I'm probably not just going to go in the woods and just try to call them in without having a weapon, but like being able to have more time to chase them, you kind of work on your calling, you learn about what turkeys do. Like it was hard for me this year that I had to be done so quick, as compared to last year. But yeah, no, all that to say is, you shot your turkey. We teamed up. I had you call for me for an afternoon. We should
have got that bird. We really should have. It almost seemed like as soon as we would call to him, he would back up. So then we would back up and he would come forward. And it was just kind of like this push and pull the whole time. And then finally he just walked away.
Yep.
And he didn't want to play anymore. It's like,
same spot where you shot yours,
Yeah.
He was still fired up. He was gobbling over the top of us. We had that, and I just remembered, I was just thinking about this. The next morning we go out where they roost, and me and you set up, and we called in a coyote, and I had no idea. I had no idea he ran in.
You guys were set up probably 15, 20 yards away, and I'm back off behind you right by the decoy, and I let down the little fly down sequence, and lo and behold, like 10, 15 seconds after that, I hear some I look off behind me, and there was a coyote like 5 yards away. So either he heard that and came running in. Maybe that's why those turkeys don't fly down over there. They know there's coyotes in the area, kind of.
I've seen a den. I found a coyote den down there.
You blow that thing up?
I didn't touch it. It's all flooded right now, so I'm hoping it took care of some coyotes while it flooded, because we can't hunt them right now.
Stick of dynamite will take care of that.
Yeah, exactly. Something's got to take care of them. We just had, if you're not from Michigan, we had like this kind of weird limit on turkey seasons kind of happened really fast in Michigan. It was like, hey, coyote season, which is normally all year round, is actually closed in like 3 weeks. So you can't hunt anymore until the end of July or whatever it is. I don't have enough background. We've talked about that in a couple podcasts. At some point, maybe I'll bring someone in to talk more about it. But yeah, we had that coyote coming right in behind me. I had no clue. I can't hear stuff. I have a hard time hearing and then also like placing sounds. And so I'll hear something. I'm always like, I cannot figure out where it's coming from. So I had no idea. But so anyways, now we're on the other side. We're starting to prepare for summer stuff. I just got into fly fishing, Jared. And
I saw that you caught a little gill boy.
I caught a bunch of gills, not to brag, but I'm pretty good now. I can catch a bluegill on a fly rod. I got a bass, but I lost it because I didn't know how to. I wasn't easing them like horsing this thing in because I'm used to just fishing with like firewire or like spider line or whatever, and just ripping them in, trying to get them in the boat as fast as possible. So we'll have a ton of summer stuff to talk to you guys about, but figured we'd pop in, talk a little turkey, and hopefully I can take a few more guys out turkey hunting this year. Cause like I said, I just feel like I didn't get the full, I want more, and I didn't get as much as I wanted for this year.
I didn't either.
But maybe we travel somewhere, one of these days. go turkey hunt out of state.
Turkey
Like
hunt in a
Wisconsin
different
has
state.
like 20 tags or something ridiculous in theirs. Yeah.
Talk to Isaac. He's from Wisconsin, isn't he?
Yeah, get us a spot. Yeah, we'll talk to him when we're floating down the river with him this November, which can't wait to share that with everybody listening here. But that's for another day. Check out the second part of this episode. Tune in next week. We'll have some more fun stuff to share with you, some knife care and stuff like that. But we will talk to you all soon.
This episode is also brought to you by 2O Gear, innovators in technical hunting clothing. 2O is a newer company. It's based right here in Michigan, and whether you're hunting elk in the mountains or chasing antelope in the plains or traipsing through swamps after that ruddy buck, 2O has you covered with premium jackets and pants, merino wool layers, everything you could possibly need to stay comfortable in the woods. Their products are engineered for functionality and durability, ensuring you stay protected in any conditions. Plus, their camo is really effective. We're big fans. So don't take our word for it, though. Go to 2ogear.com and check it out.
Today, we've got a pretty fun episode. We are talking with Nick from WTA. First things first, Nick Filler, welcome to the Fair Chase podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate getting the phone call. Good to be here today.
Yeah, and so for everybody who's listening, Nick is one of our main contacts here at WTA. And if you guys have followed us at all, we've done quite a bit of hunts and things with WTA. We really are excited about the work that they do and kind of believe in kind of the service, I guess, that they offer, especially having had it go wrong for us in the past when working with kind of outfitters and things. So before I jump into that too much, Nick, do you want to give us a little overview or outline of what WTA is and what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. So WTA, Worldwide Trophy Adventures, we are an agency that essentially connects hunters with outfitters. So people will call us up and talk to one of our consultants who sit in Sydney, Nebraska, and go through what kind of hunting they want to do, trophy expectation, and just kind of give us the rundown of what they're looking for. And then we work with a handful of outfitters that we've vetted. And based upon the client's needs, we can pair them with that outfitter. So that's the sort of outdoor adventure side of our business. Mm-hmm. And we have another counterpart or another component, which is our tags application services. So a lot of people who apply in various states throughout the West for limited entry draws just find that cumbersome with all the, this state you can apply during this period of time, and that state, it's all different. And so people will work with us. Same thing. We'll talk to them, consult to them on where they want to put in. We'll build a strategy, and then we actually physically apply for their tags on their behalf. So those are kind of the two main pillars and components of WTA, and it's been around for 5 years with this company. It's a really fun brand to work on.
Yeah. I love it because, I'll give you an example. Was looking to do a bison hunt. We're going to film it, trying to look up, what makes the most sense and so on. And so I gave you guys a quick call and got a call back from like your bison guy, which is sweet because that guy then knows exactly, I can tell him, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. This is the sort of experience that I want to have and so on, which is kind of complicated actually for bison and not as straightforward as people might imagine. And, he's able to say like, boom, here's the 3 things you need. Here's the place you want to go. Like, this is the one. And for us, I'll refer back to our bear film. We went fairly early in Alaska to do a boat trip, right? And it ended up making it a tougher trip. I would imagine had I called you guys and said, here's the trip I'm trying to do, here's the timeline I'm thinking of trying to do it, you might have been like, hey, maybe give it, 2 weeks. Obviously it's hard to make that, or a month. Yeah, or a month, Joe. That would have been helpful, right? And so looking back, at that project, I'm like, man, I see the value you guys big time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I use our services as well. I apply in lots of different Western states, and I used to live in Colorado up until recently, then moved to Michigan. So used to be an in-state Colorado resident, now out of state, but apply in Utah and Wyoming and various other states. And so I have a consultant, a colleague that I work with, and he helps me build a strategy. And I think my most recent hunt that I drew through WTA tags was an antelope hunt in Wyoming, and connected me with an awesome outfit outfitter, and it was really meeting my preferences. I just had a second child and didn't have a lot of time, and said, I need a 3 to 4 day hunt and want to just shoot north from Colorado to Wyoming. And what can you help me with? And kind of here are my trophy expectations. So I had 5 points and cashed them in, and it was a great trip. And so I use the services as well. And it's fun to help people figure out what they have time and money for, and align our vetted outfitters with their expectations. And it's a good deal.
I've done a lot of that kind of research on my own in the past. The older you get, the busier you get in life, kids get older. I definitely see the benefit to a tag system service where I didn't so much in kind of my younger portion of life. And now even more so, as your point value changes in these states all the time. Like Wyoming, your points aren't worth what they used to be. So
Right.
The whole algorithm for I've got 5 points, I have these goals, kind of is out the window now in comparison to what it was 2 years ago. So to have someone that's on staff basically staying up to snuff, doing that research for you, and can say, here's your goals, here's what's realistic, here's what you have now, here's what you can build towards, is super beneficial.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And for me right now, with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at home, that really dominates a lot of my time. And the working through my portfolio, it's like, okay, let's build points for when I'm ready, when I have a little bit more time. And same thing, I like to hunt with my brother and with my dad, and I'm kind of working with them as a group when they have the points. Okay, we'll apply. So it's really nice to have somebody that knows inside and out the rules, the regulations, and then the strategy that makes sense. Also, when we send clients in, we're paying attention on the back end. They build a relationship with their consultant in the office. And so what do you think happens after they harvest an animal, right? They're sending text to their wife and their family and friends, but then they're sending it to us and their consultant saying, hey, look at this. So we have really up-to-date data on the trophy producing units. And it's a great thing for me, who's limited on time, to rely on somebody else's knowledge that literally is speaking about this day in and day out, and just knows leaps and bounds more than I do, and then I could ever really learn through research. I just don't have the time. Right. So it's great peace of mind knowing I've got somebody in my corner that can do that for me and help me make those decisions.
Quick shout out to another amazing sponsor of ours, Kifaru International. If you're like us and love hunting in some of the toughest places, you know how crucial having the right gear is. Kifaru makes some of the toughest, most reliable backpacks and tents out there, and it's all made right here in America. Whether you're hunting in the backcountry or headed to your favorite deer stand, Kifaru has you covered. Keep your eyes out this year, especially as they're launching a ton of amazing new products like the new Arc frame that just came out. So next time you gear up for an adventure, make sure to check out Kifaru International.
Well, and it saves you money too, because like you're not throwing money after the wrong thing. You've got a concerted strategy that's cohesive, because over time, unless you keep good track of it, you're throwing money in different states, and kind of you can end up all over the place. And I'll hear that quite a bit of guys. It's like, man, I think I've got points in Colorado for this, and I've got stuff in Wyoming for antelope. I got to check what it is. It's hard to keep track of it, and I think sometimes if you're not keeping up to date on the changes and everything else, it's like you could keep putting in points for a hunt that you'll never catch up to.
That's exactly right. I mean, people pay financial advisors to help them invest their money, and we're helping people invest their points and their time and effort. And then, like you say, if you apply in 4, 5, 6 different states, right, you have to go to that state agency website, type in your username and password. Well, we keep everything on one spreadsheet. So you contact your consultant, hey, where am I at? And we can send one, if you're applying in a lot of states, sometimes it's a multi-page document, but it's here's where we applied, here are the points you've gotten. And it's really nice to have in one place. I refer to that document all the time versus having to go to 5 different state agency websites, which, are sometimes a bit clunky, and you got to remember those usernames and passwords. It's
Yeah.
nice to have it all kind of lined out.
Joe, could you rip off how many points you have in every state that you're applying to right now?
No, Not off the top. I
No.
used to be able to.
I wouldn't have been
just
surprised. Like, you might be a smooth-brained ape normally, but when it comes to hunting stuff like applications and, regulation stuff and stuff, you're like Rain Man. So I would not have been surprised.
well, the partly for that is that I've done basically what Nick has described for the last 5-6 years, tried to track this down on my own and kind of realized how big of a pain in the ass it is, and somewhat kind of feels like a waste of time for me to do it, because even if you do keep a spreadsheet of the points that you have, like let's say, for example, I thought I had more points in Colorado than what I did. I burned them this year. I applied. But even once I decide, okay, I have enough points, I'm going to apply for something, then you have to do even more research to figure out, okay, what unit do I want to put in for? What one had winter kill last year? What one had this? What one had that? What one burned 4 years ago and has good green up this year? There's all those different sub decisions that happen prior to even applying that nobody has. Like, the older I get, like I said, you realize how little of time you have in a given day, and to utilize something like this kind of helps with those decisions. So I've got 5 points in Colorado. I want to shoot a 6 point. I don't care if it's a 270 bull or a 370 bull. Yeah, to your point, no, I couldn't tell you what all I've got everywhere. I know I've got a couple in Utah. I've got some limited entry points in Montana, Arizona, Colorado I'm burning this year. But to say what I've got where, I should be utilizing that system for that.
Well, and then, that's the one side. The other side is just the fact, like, say you draw a tag, or say you decide to go hunting in a spot where I'll give an example. I decided to cash in points, say, in the UP, a little different scenario, but I ended up going to the UP to bear hunt. Had no idea how to find the right guide. Did a bunch of research in this area. Found a guy who, his trail camera pictures that he was sending me were not up to date. And the bait out there was like, maybe he'd put a little bit of something in a backpack every once in a while and bring it out. And you get out there and you spend a week, 8 hours a day sitting in your tree stand, not seeing anything. And then you've blown your points. So, for people, Nick, who, maybe have drawn or whatever, and they're looking for an outfitter, what you guys do is have this whole, compilation of different outfitters that you vetted over a long period of time. How do you figure out who to go with? How do you find these guys?
Well, like you say, we physically vet them. So we'll typically establish a relationship, and then one of our guys, our consultants, will end up in their camps, right? And, we get down to the nitty gritty, right? Hunting is first and foremost, but there's all the intangibles as well. We say the controllables, right? So the lodge, the meals, the friendliness, all those things. And we live and die by our reputation. And if we're sending hunters into camps that are not legit, or fly by night, or whatever, that don't meet our standards, you better believe we're going to hear about it. And if it's a habitual issue, we'll pull that recommendation. They will come off of our website, and we will no longer send them our clients. Our reputation is paramount. And when you have a consultant, you develop trust, and when that trust is broken down, then you no longer have a business model. So it's all based on trust, and we take very seriously our recommendation and sending our clients into these camps. And let's be honest, the vast majority of outfitters are fantastic, right? They're in business as well to provide good hunts and make good meals and make it a great atmosphere. But those who slip, or those who don't have a great operation, it's on us to figure that out. And we've been at this for a very, very long time. And then not to recommend those outfitters, those guides. So yeah, that's the one thing too. I see on a lot of Facebook groups or things like that, people will say, hey, I want to hunt, Colorado, for elk. Does anybody have any recommendations? And then people will be listing about, well, instead of doing that, call WTA and talk to a consultant free of charge and say, I'm looking for a Colorado elk hunt. And just like Joe said, 270, 280, that's what I want. Or no, I've been saving my points and I want 330-inch bull. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Willing to pay a little bit more for that. We can help you. We can steer you in the right direction. And again, it behooves us to put you in the right camp, and then you get we get good feedback, and you're calling us the next year to say, hey, okay, I did that in Colorado last year. I'd like to go to Wyoming, or I really want to get to Alaska, or help me with a strategy. So for us, it's cascading, right? Building our reputation, building that that rapport with our clients, and having them come back to us saying, hey, you steered me right here, then here's my next goal, my next objective. So that's, in a nutshell, I think really why it's so beneficial to use a service like ours versus send a message out on Facebook. You have no idea these people, if they're giving you good or bad intel.
Yeah. I am happy to be a tester for you. If you want to just start sending me around to outfitters, I'm happy to go to bad and good ones. I've got time.
I'll let you know. Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, our consultants have a pretty sweet job. They get to talk hunting and fishing and wing shooting, right? We do that as well. But they get to talk that all day with their clients, and then they go on 3 to 4 trips a year to vet these camps, and it's really not a bad gig. It's of course work, right? They're taking notes, they're analyzing. Does this make sense to continue to send clients or to start sending clients? But it's a sweet gig, that's for sure. And yeah, if we ever get tapped out, we need some extra assistance. We'll let you know.
Yeah, I could do the hunting side. I don't need to do any of the consulting side. That sounds like a lot of work. More on the hunting end of things. But no, I mean, as far as picking an outfitter and kind of choosing good outfitters to work with, last September I had a great chance to see what that was like with you guys. It was my first hunt that I had done with you, and I remember 2 days in, getting up to a glassing spot, maybe 2-3 days in, glassing out and just looking over, this valley, swampy valley with mountains on both sides, mountain goats up behind me every day, and just seeing tons of moose. And hearing my outfitter say, this is actually the best moose habitat that I hunt in a year. And he'll work in a couple different places. And he's like, this is, where you are right now is like world-class spot. And that stuck with me because it's like, man, I drove all the way out. There's a lot of money and time and everything that went into that. And to get out there and be like, oh, everything is set. I've got the right spot and I'm with the right guys, made a huge difference for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just, again, it's in our best interest to put our clients in the best camps with the best guides, in the best units, or in the best concessions. So yeah, and one thing we haven't touched on is our website. If you aren't ready to pick up the phone and make the call, and you want to just kind of peruse at your leisure, go to our website and type in those species. We work really, really hard to, once we develop the relationship with the outfitter, to build a listing to showcase, past trophy shots, right? That's kind of proof is in the pudding. You can see what they're taking off this ranch. We try to get lodge photography in there, or if it's a tent-based camp, what that's going to look like, to sort of start to let the client or potential client build that in their head. They can look at the price, and then when you're ready, you can click request more info, type out some things, and that sends an email to our team, and we'll call you. Or you can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm looking at this trip, I want to know more about it. So that's another kind of passive way to get involved with what we're doing and kind of check things out.
The website's laid out really well. I've kind of noticed it reminds me a lot of like a Zillow layout where you have different filters and different things that you can check. So if like you're looking at a species that's pretty widespread, like brown bear, for example, it's in Alaska, it's in the Yukon, it's in places in Europe, you can check all these different boxes and kind of see what's different about all of them. And the price ranges are so different because like when you go through the descriptions, it's like, this is a draw hunt, this is a registration hunt, this is boat based, this is you're tenting it out, this one has a cabin. Like there's a whole myriad of different options that kind of fluctuate and change that price. So you can really tailor the experience that you're after, your budget, and all of those different components to make it exactly what you want, which is super cool. And the one thing that I've noticed just kind of browsing the website too is how much international exposure or coverage that you guys have. And I'm pretty comfortable with the lower 48 and Alaska stuff. But traveling internationally for hunting is something that I'm starting to get more and more interested in. And that's where I think it's really important to lean into a group like you guys, because if you're looking at going into the Middle East hunting some of these sheep species, or Asia for some of them like that travel is exponentially more complicated. There's way more documents to do. There's way more, I don't want to say safety concerns, but there's you want to have some boots on the ground intel, and that's a super powerful tool and component of that website.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. It takes a lot of time for us to build it to where you can navigate it easily. You can find the information at your fingertips. But you're exactly right. Europe is it's growing, hunting in Europe, and we have a consultant who lives in Austria. He's got dual citizenship, but you call Roger and he's gonna be talking to you about all the Croatia and Ireland and all the cool opportunity that I have never hunted over there. I lived in Germany as a kid, but I've never hunted. But I really kind of look at it, and the vibe I get from it is it's kind of Western hunting many years ago, when it was a little bit less popular, as that type thing. And so I think, sometimes in Colorado, you go to public over-the-counter elk, you're going to see the sea of orange people talk about, right? That doesn't really exist in Europe. And so it feels like very high-end hunting, fewer people doing it. I mean, some of our outfits we work with, you're staying in like a castle, things like that. And it's still quite affordable because it's maybe a little bit less popular than, a Western elk or the standard sort of US hunting. So that's a lot of people that have sort of been around the block and hunted, most of the hot spots in the US are starting to explore international trips in Europe specifically. So yeah, that's a really good point. And then the Marco Polos and the things in far off places that you're going to be traveling multiple days just to get to camp. One of the first questions is, what's it like? What are the car rides? How do I travel with a gun? Do I use a camp gun? Those type things. And our guys have been there and they can answer those questions. And again, it's in our nature to be able to put the client's mind at ease and walk them through all the nitty gritty to make it as easy as it can be to travel across the world for a hunting expedition.
Yeah. Well, even going to Canada is not the most straightforward thing,
right?
Just getting it across the border there, which there was a bunch of stuff I didn't know about. Kind of walk me through it. Actually, now that we're talking about this, your website, I'm on it right now. I'll show you the page I'm looking at. Hang on, I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah,
can you see what I'm looking at here?
Yeah, I see you. Go. I see you in Dawson. What a trip that was. I wasn't there, but we helped you arrange it, and it was so cool to see it come to life through the YouTube video you guys put together, and that's up on our website, right? So if we ever do hunts that we film, we'll embed those on the website. We've just started. If we'll talk about an outfit, and we do a podcast, Mark, our owner, does a podcast, we'll integrate that into the trip listing. So some of these trip listings have an article you can read, sort of a blog post, a video that we filmed at this outfit, a podcast, and then just piles of images that we feel are relevant to the client or potential client. So yeah, we work very diligently to pack the site with usable information that'll help you make an informed decision.
Yeah, I love it. I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking at it right now. And it's just nice because I do the same thing. Like if I'm going to do a hunt, I'm looking at every single bit of information about where I'm going in every forum, blog, podcast or whatever. So to have it in one spot is good. Now, while we're talking about the website and, my moose hunt, I would be remiss if I didn't say, if you're listening right now, in the show notes, you can find this on the website too, but in the show notes here, we've got a link to actually winning that hunt. So go on this world-class moose hunt, get this loaded Gunworks rifle with, Leupold scope,
and the shooting, basically like a shooting course through Gunworks.
Yep.
Like a sweet deal. And I think, what did I see? 12 days as of recording this. So, when this episode goes out, we don't have much time. I think the sweepstakes ends May 13th. So,
That's right.
yeah, it's coming up. But for anybody listening, like, and you want to start, dipping your toes, going out somewhere and doing this, you can buy these tickets, right? The money you spend, and we've talked about this in the past, can be applied to other hunts through WTA. So it's kind of a no-brainer if you're looking at doing a hunt like this at some point. It is very much worth entering in these sweepstakes because, Nick, right before we jumped on, you were telling us how you just gave away a stone sheep hunt today.
Yeah, we called the winner of our biggest hunting package ever. It was a stone sheep hunt, and you win a Gunworks rifle, bipod, and like you say, shooting school, top to the loophole scope. So we not only give away top tier trips, but we work with our best partners as well to sweeten the package. Win a hunt, win a sweet rifle, go to a shooting school, and then go on your hunt. Right? That to me, that's sort of the holy grail. And it really has been a very fun addition to my job. I've been with WTA for 5 years, and we released or launched this sweepstakes program January of 2022. So just over 2 years, 2.5 years, and we've given away some amazing trips. And we built the program to give people opportunity to kind of throw their hat in the ring with a couple of tickets to win some of these ridiculously awesome hunts and some great prize packages. And then on the back end, we give you dollar for dollar bonus bucks. So if you spend $300 on entering to win a trip, and then you call us and say, hey, I'd like to apply those $300 to tags portfolio. I want you to start applying for my tags. Or I hope I win this moose trip, but I'm definitely going with you guys to hunt elk in Utah. So take that $300 I put on sweepstakes, put that to my Utah elk hunt, and we'll do that. We give you 1 year to use those sweepstakes dollars that you earn, and we're trying to get people to some of these remote places that they may not be able to pay for full price, or they just kind of want to supplement. They're buying trips here or there, they're applying for tags, but I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for some really great odds. And we've done stone sheep, we did a Alberta bighorn, we've done mountain goats, we've done moose, a lot of elk. So we're really targeting these great species and excellent camps and with excellent outfitters. And that's been a really, really fun project to work on for the last couple of years.
Yeah, like the savvy average Joe move, I think, would be doing the tags and doing the sweepstakes, because then you can at least get kind of a help getting drawn somewhere, and a lot of that, keeping costs low, you're still you get extra opportunity to enter the sweepstakes, which is pretty sweet. Right.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's how we designed it. You're kind of giving away some trade secrets. No, just kidding. We have a lot of clients that they enter into every sweepstakes that they find relevant to them, and then they cash in those bonus bucks right away. They know they've got, tags portfolios, right? The tags application season starts in Alaska like late in the year, and it really runs through about now is when kind of all the deadlines hit. So we renew a lot of portfolios where people are applying in various states. and they know roughly what that's going to cost. And so they'll buy those sweepstakes tickets, call us and say, hey, I'm ready to cash those in on my tax portfolio for this year. Yeah, sounds great. And our tax consultants walk down to accounting and say, this client has this many bonus bucks. He wants to apply them, and boom, it's done. So it's it's a program that people are really, really maximizing. And yeah, we're giving away great trips, and then we're giving you those dollars back essentially. So
Yeah.
it's a great deal in our mind, and our customers are telling us the same thing. You know, the sweepstakes program is growing. We're seeing excellent participation, and then we're starting to see some really, really great trip reports and harvest pictures of folks that we've sent on these sweepstakes, and that just makes my job awesome. Making those phone calls and seeing those pictures and making people happy.
Well, and that's why we wanted to have you on today. We're in kind of a series right now where we're trying to find, whether it's our podcast, some of the videos we're putting out, some of the YouTube, the Instagram stuff. It's around like, how can we help folks, as they prepare for the year. And so, I know we talked to everything from tick prevention to turkey calling to whatever else. But, one thing that we had thought going into this and why we wanted to bring you here, Nick, is just, if you're looking to get a guide, if you're looking to do these things, highly recommend. We've tried a bunch of different ways of doing this, but we found WTA to be the best. So that's why I say just wanted to have you on here today, Nick, to check that out. We're coming up on time. And so if you would you let everybody know where they can go check out your website and, find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for having me. Happy to come back anytime, and just appreciate what the Fair Chase is doing in general. But yeah, to answer your question, it is worldwidetrophyadventures.com is the website. So head there, check some things out, use those filters. You can type in the search bar what you're looking for, poke around a bit, and then when you're ready, pick up the phone and call one of the folks that sits in Sydney, Nebraska, or Austria consultant, those type, and just tell us what you're looking for, and we will connect you with the expert consultant in that field. So you don't have to worry, just call. And we're on Facebook and Instagram, of course, and very active on YouTube. We try to film hunts and bring it to life in that sense. So yeah, all the major socials and our website are probably the first places to go. And as Joe is always saying, slap that subscribe and like button and follow along. We try to make our content relevant and showcase some of the wins, and it's fun to follow along. At least I think so.
Yeah, Joe loves it when you smash that subscribe button. So definitely do that.
Smash it.